InDesign makes it easy to adjust the opacity of an object so that elements beneath the object show through, creating an interesting effect. Let's take a look at how to adjust the opacity of an object in InDesign. I'm beginning this video with the opacity.indd file already open on my computer. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this text frame in the lower left corner of my document. Now, if I click on this object, we can adjust the opacity using our Effects panel. So we're going to go to the Window menu. We're going to go to Effects. Now, I should point out that it's very important that you select the object before you start adjusting the opacity. Because if you don't, you're basically going to set the default appearance for all the objects you draw to have the opacity that you choose. That's probably not what you want. So make sure you have your object selected. Now, you'll also notice that by default in InDesign, when you select an object, the object property is selected as well. So if I were to adjust the opacity of this object, I'm just going to drag it down pretty far here, we can see that the opacity of everything in that frame, the stroke, the fill, the text, is all being adjusted because we're adjusting the entire object as a unit. So in some cases it may be what you want, but in this case the text is getting very hard to read. So let's go ahead and change the opacity. We'll set it back up to 100. And you can see that in the Effects panel we can adjust the object, the stroke, the fill, and the text all independently of one another, or in conjunction with one another. So what we would want to do in this case is click the fill property. And then we can go ahead and reduce the fill property. Go ahead and pull this down to about 60%. And now we can see that the fill color is being reduced, the opacity is being reduced, but the text is remaining untouched. Now, if for some reason you wanted to, you could click on the text itself and then reduce its opacity independently of the opacity of the fill or stroke or object. So in this case, it would not be what I wanted to do, but just understand that that's an option as you're adjusting the opacity of elements inside of InDesign.